Shalom, Yasharala. This is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and our will. And salutation and much love for you, I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real fast, which is going into, the so-called withdrawal of troops in Russia, and so going into the scriptures, we know about the wars and rumors of wars and how, the vision is yet for an appointed time. We also know that, the end is going to come with World War III with Russia versus America. All right. But nevertheless, we're not going according to these these articles and things like that, because some people could say, hey, well, you guys were saying this, you guys were saying that. But what we're going off of is what the scriptures say. All right. So we know that this is how it's going to all end. All right. But these are the bubbling ups of these things. All right. Now, we still have other prophecies that have to be fulfilled. The famine of the word. All right. Jacob's trouble, pressing of the MOTB. All right. All these things must take place as well. So let's jump into this here article and grab a couple of scriptures and we'll close it out. It says NATO reacts to Russian troop withdrawal. All right. And what you have to understand was, you have Russia that was conducting some drills over there. All right. Military drills alongside while, Ukraine was also doing some as well, too. But America and their Western allies was also, moving armaments into Ukraine. All right. But nevertheless, we're going to continue on with the article. It says, however, the military bloc chief said it does not yet see the real signs of de-escalation. All right. While Moscow announcing its troops have begun returning to their bases following exercises in Belarus, close to the border with Ukraine, NATO Secretary General Hans Stoltenberg said that he sees hope for diplomacy to put an end to the standoff between Russia and the West. All right. And we know that that's not going to happen. All right. But we also hear about when they say peace and safety, then shall come sudden destruction. So speaking at a news conference ahead of the meeting with the defense ministers from member states on Tuesday, the military bloc chief set out his assessment of the current climate on the Russian-Ukraine demarcation line, which is like a ceasefire line, It says, so far, we have not seen any de-escalation on the ground. We have not seen any signs of reduction of Russian military presence on the border with Ukraine, he claimed, but we will continue to monitor and follow closely what Russia is doing. So, but you also have to understand that, a lot of these things are, smoke and mirrors to the mainstream media, the people that watch these mainstream media. Again, that's why we say we're not going off of what these articles are saying. All right, we're going according to what the scriptures say. All right, so one thing that people don't, we know what the end game goal is, right? World War III with Russia and America. All right, but you have to understand the logistics of a lot of these things, and as far as moving troops, moving equipment and things like that. So they'll put it under the guise of, we're doing military drills, and with that they're conducting the military drill over there. But what, in order for you to conduct that drill, you got to move a lot of your equipment over there. All right, once you get that equipment over there, you can be like, well, we'll come back and pick it up, a couple months later, or a year later or something like that. But on that whole time, you're preparing for war at that area. It's a lot easier just to leave the equipment over there and just send your troops back. Like what people don't realize about the Middle East, they talk about, they pretty much pulled out of the Middle East. But then you also hear articles about how they left so much equipment over in the Middle East. All right. And we know that, a lot of World War III is going to take place over in the Middle East, the Valley of Yahweh Shaphat, man. So we know that, under the smoke screen of a lot of these things, they just moved a lot of military equipment over into the Middle East. All right. And the same thing you see going over here on the Russian borders and things like that, man. All right. So, hey, just because they so-called say that, they're pulling Russian troops back, there's no more war on the table and things like that. Nah, man, we're not going off of, again, what they're talking about in these articles, but we're going off of what is said in the scriptures. All right. So it says, so far, we have not seen any de-escalation on the ground. We have not seen any signs of reduction in military presence on the border with Ukraine, he claimed. But we will continue to monitor and follow closely what Russia is doing. According to the former Norwegian prime minister, however, there are signs coming from Moscow about the willingness to continue engaged in diplomatic efforts. That gives us some reason for cautious optimism. But we will, of course, follow very closely what is happening on the ground. All right. Like I said, because some people will say, they'll see this headline. I'm like, no more war over there. And they just go back to their folly, man. All right. It says, what we need to see is a significant and enduring withdrawal of forces, troops, and heavy equipment, he went on. Earlier on Tuesday, Moscow's Ministry of Defense announced that its troops had completed their joint training drills in Belarus and would begin the process of withdrawing. Western leaders have been expressing fears for months that Russia could be planning an invasion of its neighbor. So again, this is how do I say, the smoke and screen. So they're like, oh well, let me read this. Let me continue reading. It says, Western leaders have been expressing fears for months that Russia could be planning an invasion of its neighbor, and have pointed to reports of troop buildup on the two countries' shared border, as well as exercises with minks as a potential precursor. So again, the West is saying, oh well, see, they're mounting up, they're going for an invasion. We got to move in equipment. We got to move in troops. When they over there holding joint drills. They're preparing themselves. They're getting ready for World War III, but under the guise of them brainwashing the media, saying, oh, they're moving troops over there, not just saying, they're just having military drills, just like y'all are having military drills. What does the West do? They'll go over and say, oh, we'll have joint drills as well. All right, now, under the guise of all these joint drills, what's actually going on? Troops are being moved over into certain places. Equipment is being moved into certain places. All right, so getting ready for this here war, man. All right, wars and rumors of wars. All right. It says, an unnamed U.S. State Department official warned in January that drills could be linked to plans for a possible offensive against the Ukraine. The Kremlin has consistently rejected that an offensive is on the cards and had looked to get security agreements that would limit activity of NATO in the Eastern European, as well as the bloc's expansion. However, Stoltenberg has criticized Russian requests that the bloc not admit Ukraine, noting that Moscow has no veto on Kiev's path to potential membership, and that it will not accept a two-tier membership system that prevents it from deploying troops in certain states. So, you still have how do I say, the so-called undermining of one another at this here scenario, man. All right, the West is still moving forward towards Russia, where, let me read this next one, because you'll see here, let me keep reading. It says, Russian President Vladimir Putin has previously said that NATO has deceived Moscow with false premises that it would not expand into this space left after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Not an inch to the east, they were told in the 1990s, and look what happened. They cheated us vehemently and blatantly, he said. So it's like, look, man, Russia or the West is telling Russia that they can't tell them that they can't, Ukraine can't join NATO. They got to make their own decision. But really, the West is forcing them to so-called join them. All right, forcing them to get closer and closer, like they signed the agreement back in the days that they wouldn't keep expanding closer and closer to Russia. But what have they been doing the whole time, man? That's exactly what they've been doing. But what, Russia has to just stand down. And so, again, according to the scriptures, we know exactly what's going to happen here. All right, so let's jump into some scriptures here real quick. We're going to start off here in Matthew 24, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, what shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? All right, now we can read in 2nd Ezra chapter 9 about measuring the time diligently and seeing where we're at. All right, verse 6 says, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right, and what we've been hearing about, for the longest time, man. All right, wars and rumors of wars. You've been hearing about that in Syria, about with the ISIS situation. All right, and bombing certain people over there, where Russia got brought into that. All right, the Venezuela situation, where Russia got brought into that. Now you got the Ukraine situation. Before that, you had the situation in Georgia. All right, now you have the Ukraine situation going on. All right, but hey, we know that all these things are bringing them closer and closer and closer to what? World War III. All right, but it says you share of wars and rumors of wars. Not too long ago, they were just saying that how Russia was going to invade. Russia was going to invade. We got to do something. We got to do something. And all this is propping up for certain things. Again, like I said, the movement of a lot of these weapons and things like that over there, man. All right, waiting for that one little slip up. And once that one little slip up happens, man, all right, because, world wars don't just start, just overnight, man. All right, we're actually in World War III as we speak now. All right, we're in what they call the Cold Phase or the Cold War right now, our informational war. This is why on your American media you keep hearing about a Russian aggression. We just read an article about how they had signed that agreement that NATO wouldn't move an inch closer towards Russia. But what have they been doing the whole time, man? All right, and they've been calling it Russian aggression. This is an informational war. All right, going into a Cold War at the point in time. All right, getting the people's minds prepared for them to go to war with one another and to be on the side of their party to like after 9/11. All right, but well, before 9/11, most Americans wasn't trying to go and bomb the Middle East. They wasn't really down with all that. But there was a certain incident that happened that made the American population like, hell yeah, let's go bomb all these bastards and shit like that, man. So what do you think you got going on right now with the so-called Russian propaganda, the Russian meddling in the elections, the Russians doing this, the Russians doing that? Most Americans think that the Russians are the enemy, when actually, in all actuality, it's the other way around. All right, he's a problem and need to keep it at home. All right. It says, you should hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that you be not troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So again, what our measuring stick is the scriptures, man. These signs, going on, these prophecies. We still have some prophecies left over, man. All right, but hey, we know that this is going to all pretty much end up with World War III, all right, and the launching of those thermonuclear missiles. But hey, this is the build up to all those things, man. All right, so now you're starting to see this here vision starting to speak, man, loud and clear, man. A couple of years back, you couldn't have seen Russia and America actually going at each other's throat like that, man. But now you're starting to see the build up, all right? Oh, this is First Thessalonians chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, but of the times and the season, brethren, I have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night. And that's for those that aren't watching, those that aren't paying attention to the things that's going on. But nevertheless, those that are actually out here watching and measuring the time diligently based off of these signs, hey, they know what time it is, man. All right, verse 3 says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. All right, and a lot of these things where you have these these flare-ups and then these cool down moments and things like that, man. All right, people think that, everything is just going back to normal, but you don't realize, they'll take 5 steps forward and 1 step back. And that 1 step back, people think that, oh man, everything went back to normal. But lo and behold, you're still 4 steps ahead of where you was beforehand, man. All right, just like nowadays where, with the pandemic situation, they're taking so many steps forward, but then they roll back certain steps. But look how far they've already taken things, man. All right, they pretty much got things, so far ahead that, 1 step back is nowhere near where you first started at, man. All right, so again, going back into what a lot of these troop movements and things like that, the mindsets to the people are already brainwashed that Russia's the aggressor. All right, and hey, Russia's just like, yo, man, y'all keep making these moves. Russia's over here preparing themselves with these weaponry, man, because they know what's about to happen. All right. Let me grab that real quick. In Proverbs 21:1, it says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. All right. Now, what you're starting to see happen over these things like that, man. All right. You even had some of the Ukrainian leaders talking about, look, man, y'all over here with this propaganda over here, y'all disabling our economy. All right. And y'all causing problems for us over here, man. Don't be speaking on our behalf like that. They know what's going on over there. They're not like, yo, man. But hey, nevertheless, all these, again, like the scriptures say, all these things are working together for what the Most High's will to be accomplished, man. All right, putting these leaders in position, getting their mind states ready for certain things, like how we would say predictive programming of the population. All right, it's getting these people ready for what? World War III, man. All right, if Russia, how do I put it? If Russia didn't believe that America was actually about to wage war on them, they wouldn't be advancing any military equipment, man. All right, we would be so far behind right now. But hey, the Lord is working on the minds of these kings and getting them in position for what? World War III. And that's what you see being built up at this point in time, man. That's the most important thing to be looking at. Is like, hey, man, the Lord is preparing these things to take place. All right. Let me read this real quick, because again, we know again what the end game goal is, according to what the prophecies. Jeremiah 50:3 says, for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein, and they shall depart both man and beast. So hey, that what they call weapons of mass destruction, all right, to make the land desolate. What do you think is going to do that? All right. Jeremiah 50:9 says, for lo, I will raise the cause to come up against Babylon, which is America, an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. It says, from thence she shall be taken. That arrow shall be as a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain. So those arrows are going to be shot from over there, the land of the north, all the way over to Babylon, all right? And what are those weapons going to be? The weapons, the waster to destroy, the weapons of mass destruction, which are those ICBM thermonuclear missiles, man. All right, this is the whole purpose. Let's grab that real quick. Jeremiah 51:11, it says, Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes. So again, working on the minds of these kings to prepare themselves, man. So whether you see a flare-up and a de-escalation, things are actually getting done behind the scenes, man. Moves are actually, or advancements are actually being made behind the scenes that people don't realize about, man. Russia not just creating a new technology, they new jet checkmate for nothing. Oh, shit, just calm down. We're going to just scrap this here project. You know, America done back down. We making peace treaties and things like that. Let's get rid of the S-550. Nah, man, they gonna keep moving forward with these things, man. All right, it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon. All right, and what is his device? Those thermonuclear missiles. It says, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. So, hey, this is what you have going on. All right, you have these Russians that are preparing themselves for this here battle, man. All right, they're preparing for what? World War III. Verse 28, it says, prepare against her the nations with the king of the Medes. All right, to prepare them. Let me see what this word, because I think this is the word I looked at one time before. There's a different word. Well, it's the same word, but in a different. It's a different word that they use for it in Joel. But nevertheless, you know, it says, prepare against her the nation with the king of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitants. So look, the Lord is raising up the spirit of the king of the Medes, and to how do I say, prepare his device, all right, which is those thermonuclear missiles, all right, to do what? To destroy Babylon off the face of the earth. All right, and this is what these things are coming to fruition with. All right, so let's go ahead and close out with that. The Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. It says, for the vision, all right, which we're reading these prophecies right now, is yet for an appointed time. All right, like, hey, you know, we were reading this through the articles versus the scriptures. Yeah, just because they say things dying down, don't mean that's the end all be all, because these things are what? For an appointed time, for the Lord's time. All right. It says, and we just read about the vision, about how the Lord is using the Russians basically to take out these Americans, all right, with their thermonuclear missiles. It says the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. All right, so hey, the end is surely going to come. It's not going to tarry, man. All right, people may think, oh, y'all speaking all these things, and it just died back down. Let's go back to our folly, man. All right, hey, just like how everybody thought that there was going to be a bounce back after this pandemic situation, but now look at things are way worse than where they were before, man. All right, so hey, you know, the Lord is on a different time frame than you people, man. All right, but nevertheless, hey, you don't want to get caught like a thief in the night, because you know you think that everything just got back sweet. All right, when they shall say peace and safety, then it shall sudden destruction cometh upon them. But also, we know that the vision is yet for an appointed time. So these things must be fulfilled before the end comes. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord's will, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakak Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.